For the avoidance of doubt, the Simple Side does not provide investment, tax, or legal advice. As with any asset, the value of any asset class can go up or down, and there can be substantial risk that you lose your money buying, selling, holding, or investing in any asset. You should carefully consider whether trading or holding assets is suitable for you in light of your financial condition.
Good morning and happy Saturday, Simple Investor. Welcome back to the Saturday Sendout from the Simple Side. Before we get in to this week's newsletter and podcast, let's quick cover some updates that are going to be happening this next week, and these should all be pretty exciting for you. First off, I want to announce that the $2,000 giveaway that we're doing, the winner will be announced next Wednesday, and of course, I'll release a video showing the winner being picked so that it's all random. And we use a website to do this as well. I can't remember the exact name, but it's basically like a wheel, and you click a button and it spins and shows you who the winner is. So we'll be doing that. I also want to remind you that if you like quick, short-form stock updates, you can check out our daily newsletter, The Simple Side Daily at Substack.com. You can look that up on Google, The Simple Side Daily at Substack or whatever, and you'll find it that way. There's also a link to it in the newsletter. I also want to tell everybody that I'm working with a brokerage to allow paying subscribers to copy my exact portfolios without making any of the trades that I make. You'll be able to just one-click buy the portfolio and go from there. Also, I've been touting a podcast Q&A/newsletter Q&A that I'll be releasing sometime soon, and I'm going to try to release this along with the giveaway next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that to come out as well. Also, I want to remind you, if you have any questions, you want to ask me something, you want to tell me something, you can reach out to me at thesimplesidenews@gmail.com, or you can reply to the email newsletter that we send out. Or if you're reading the newsletter, I have a button that says, let me know by clicking here. You can click on that button and it will send me a direct message. All right, let's talk about the past performance that we've had. Right now, we're averaging 1.09% weekly. That's right. 1% weekly, of course, translates to 52% annualized. In this section of the newsletter, I just cover how we've performed in the past and why what I'm saying has validity to it. So I started doing this newsletter report, I think on July 20th of 2024. And since then, my weekly returns, of course, the weekly picks that are in this newsletter, have returned 22.03%, while over the same duration, the SPY has returned 7.53%. Annually, this translates into a 19.58% return for the SPY, while my annualized returns hit 57.29%. And there's a gorgeous little graph here if you're reading the newsletter, thesimpleside.substack.com to go and find the newsletter. If you're reading it, you can see a gorgeous little graph that shows you the growth of a $10,000 investment. Currently, a $10,000 investment in my picks brings you to a total account value of $12,000, while a investment in the SPY over the same time period would bring you to only $753 additional dollars. So $10,753. I'm outperforming that by over 1.5 thousand, which is awesome. You can also see a performance tracker, that highlights the first quarter of trades that I made from July 20th to October 19th, which I returned 13.84% during that time period, while the SPY only returned 4.76%. You can also see the stocks that I bought last week and all of their returns, and you can see how much I outperformed the SPY by over the past week, over the past 20 weeks, and annually. All right, let's talk about our reporting information for today. Of course, as with every week, I cover politician trading, I cover insider trading, I cover executive trading, and then paying subscribers get to look at next week's buy opportunities, mergers and acquisitions, top investment ideas, how our contrarian bets are performing, our flagship portfolio, our micro cap picks, and expected stock movements from options trading. And all of this, there's so much information that is down below for paying subscribers, whether you want to look at micro caps and take some risky bets, or if you want to try to trade off of the volatility that's going to be coming up from earnings. You can do all of that with all of this. And of course, I summarize everything for you. I tell you expected returns, I tell you expected drawdowns, and you can check all of that out if you become a paying subscriber. Again, go to thesimpleside.substack.com /subscribe, or just look up The Simple Side simpleSide.substack.com, and you'll find all of this information. So for politician trading, we track two ETFs, NANC and KRUZ. These are Democrat and Republican tracking stock ETFs. NANC, N-A-N-C, Democrat tracking, is up 1.63% this week, 2.53% this month, and 33.75% year to date, whereas Cruise is down 1.4% this week, up 0.61% this past month, and 20.46% year to date. Now, contributing to these gains over the past 30 days, we've seen 11 politicians make 89 trades, investing over $18.8 million in the market, or moving around $18.8 million in the market. And this week marked the end of Marjorie Greene's 3-week run of crazy stock buying. And this week had some of the most ridiculous politician trades I have ever seen. Michael Collins, a politician enthusiast crypto trader, if you will, bought a cryptocurrency called Ski Mask Dog on November 30th and December 3rd. And this is ridiculous, but since he made these trades, he around quadrupled his money. Now, something I'm going to be looking at more closely is politicians trading crypto like this, because you have to be an insider to make a crazy risky trade like that, and then of course capitalize on quadruple returns. So I'm going to be paying much closer attention to these. I also want to highlight that Collins bought Arrow. It's like Aerodrome Finance, which is another crypto coin. He also bought that on November 30th, and this also made him between 2x and 4x his original investment. So I'm going to be paying close attention to these crypto trades that politicians are making. The other two top trades we saw this week were sells for NTAP and sells for REGN. And while I think REGN Pharmaceuticals is 8% undervalued, I think NTAP is heavily overvalued. My model puts us at a 56% overvalued rating. So none of the coins or stocks this week I saw were buy opportunities, but you can go and check out the top 5 in the newsletter, thesimpleside.substack.com. All right, let's talk insider trading. We track another ETF for the insider trading, which is SURE, ticker SURE, SURE. That is down 1.58% this week, up 4.18% this month, and up 17.85% year to date. The top 5 insider buyers this week bought $23 million worth of stock, whereas the top 5 insider sellers sold over $4 billion. That's right, $4 billion worth of stock. And I mean, clearly insiders were net sellers this week, but the total buy to sell ratio was 41 buyers with 193 sellers, potentially hinting at an incoming market downturn. So we'll see what happens there. The most interesting buy this week came in the form of a stock we've seen in this report multiple times, PBF Energy, which had a $9.25 million insider buy. The stock is down 51% from its high in April, and year to date has lost 31% of its value. But I've talked about PBF Energy before, and you can go look at previous newsletters for some analysis on that stock. I do want to say that after Q4 financials come out, I'll decide if I want to go long or short on the stock. But this week, I'll spare you from hearing me ramble on about the same stock again. I do, however, want to talk about Red Robin, which is the number 2 most heavily bought stock with $8.31 million being invested. And it's down 52.75% year to date. It's currently at one of the lowest prices the stock has ever been at, and my models say the company is 37% undervalued, 37% overvalued, I believe. Let me fix that in my newsletter, overvalued. And analysts say the company has a 58% upside, but I cannot disagree more with this assumption. The only thing the company has going for it are the insider buys that have happened recently, with 1.8 million shares being bought by 8 different insiders. However, the company's seen declining revenue for the past 5 years, has poor financial strength, and isn't profitable at the moment. And all of this leads me to believe that the stock isn't a good investment. And for the next week, it's definitely not a buy. In our executive trading report, we don't have an ETF to track, but I can tell you that the top 5 companies we report on grew executive ownership by, I think, something like 29%. And the company that had the largest buy this week was Mind Medicine with a 14% insider growth at a purchase price of $7.17. The stock currently sits at $7.55, which means the insider is capitalized on a 4.3% increase. I don't want to highlight Mind Medicine, ticker MNMD, though. I want to highlight two risky opportunities that are both players in the mineral space, if you will. One of them is CTGO and the other is GRNT. And I just want to do a quick analysis because both these companies are relatively new, going public in 2020 and 2021. But one of them seems to be a possible buy, although it's risky this week. I won't be putting it on my buy list, but if you're looking for a risky stock to invest in for the next week, hoping for a large return, this might be the one you're looking for. It's got low RSI values across the 5-day, 9-day, and 14-day periods with 4.57, 10.58, and 16.73 respectively, which means the stock is oversold right now, signaling a rebound as traders look to capitalize on the undervalued conditions. Additionally, their 3 to 1 month momentum percentage is at 9.55, which highlights recent strength, which also indicates the early stages of a broader recovery despite the long-term momentum metrics looking poor. So you can go and check that out. Again, it's not going to be on my buy list for this week, but it is a risky stock that could be worth buying. All right, now we're going to get into the paid subscriber information. And of course, this will not be in the podcast, but I want you to go read about it. Check it out, thesimpleside.substack.com. We have 6 buys for you this week and 2 stocks on the risky stock watch list. Some of these come from mergers and acquisitions. Some come from our top investment ideas. And by the way, our top investment ideas are really interesting. The way we do these is we look for good financial strength, good operating margins, high profitability, good earnings per share growth, and good revenue per share growth over the past 5 years. So these are companies that are performing well, they're doing well, but for some reason, my model is saying these stocks are undervalued. It could be a multitude of things. It could be the stock has been oversold recently. It could be that the stock is undervalued based on, price to book ratios. So go and check those out. We've got 3 stocks in there for you. And last week, I think the 3 stocks we had in our top list increased by something like, I want to say a total or an average of about 3%. So go and check those out. I also am going to cover how our contrarian trades have been performing. And then I'll talk about how my flagship portfolio has been performing, which, by the way, is up 44% year to date, whereas the SPY is only up 29.34%. I also talk about some micro cap finds. I also give a potential upside, which currently is 66.52%, and the downside or the drawback is only looking like a negative 27%. So a much higher potential for return there. And then I also talk about the portfolio allocation strategy that you would have for those micro cap picks. And then I get into implied options price movement. So these are stocks that have earning calls coming up. And then I talk about what options traders are saying the price should do, whether the movement should be a 10% movement, a 20% movement, or a 3% movement. And I just give a sentiment analysis so you can go and make trades on those stocks. I will keep you updated on how all of these stocks perform, and I will see you next week. Again, reminder, paid subscribers are going to be getting notice whether or not they won the $2,000 giveaway this upcoming Wednesday. I look forward to seeing you then.